So, why do I feel justified to eat low carb as a type 1 diabetic or just as a diabetic in general? Now, I got a couple of pointers. I'm going off the top right now. For one, my carb craving has reduced significantly. I used to binge eat once a week. Once I fully turned on the switch of following the Bernstein plan, the diabetes solution of eating low carb and high protein and moderate fat, my cravings reduced significantly. I could not handle eating sweet things like a Quest bar or a protein shake. I felt like it was too sweet. And for me, it was more about cutting the carbs out. And I don't want to say cold turkey, but for me, I love protein. I love protein foods. They really satiate me. They keep me full. And they're not too high in calories as opposed to fats. Fats are way higher in calories if we compare it to each by the gram. So that's one for me. My carb craving went down. I have not binged ate in like the way I used to in a long time. It's probably been like a month, maybe 2 months. It's been a long time. I used to do it once a week, and I would drive myself insane. I would try to follow a flexible diet of eating whenever I wanted, trying to count calories, and not really having a rigid plan to stick to. And once I went low carb, that was the benefit of it. Number two, I don't have to dose as much insulin. Now, I'm 20, I'm young, I don't know much, but this is what's worked for me. And I'm following a gentleman by the name of Doctor Bernstein, who's had diabetes for about 7 decades now, and he has phenomenal results, him and his patients. So I listen, I'm humble, I have humility. And what he teaches is if you take a lower amount of insulin, your blood sugar becomes predictable. It's called the law of small numbers. Now, you can take a small amount of insulin, eat a bunch. That's not the law of small numbers. You're not abiding by it. If you're eating a small amount of carbs, taking a small amount of insulin, your blood sugar becomes predictable, and the mistakes you make within those things, within the small amounts of insulin and the small amounts of carbs, your mistake won't be erratic, rather opposed to having, let's say, a 70 carb meal and we're dosing 8 units of Novolog, 7 units of Novolog, we're going to have a huge erratic result if we mess up. Think about it. Let's say you didn't inject fully or something came up. It's just your blood sugar is going to really spike. And the big one for me was I love carbs. Don't get me wrong. I love food more than anyone. But the fact that my cravings reduced. Now, last week I was almost on the verge of like binging really hard. But for some weird reason, I know this sounds crazy, I was only craving like salty foods like pistachios. I wanted to have a salad for some weird reason with some chicken breast, but just not pre-bolusing and not counting. I just felt burnt out for a quick night. I was hanging out with my friend. So that's number two, having predictable blood sugars. My blood sugars have been probably the best where they've been right now, knock on wood, going lower carb. I eat 30 carbs a day. Each meal, or it goes 6 carbs in the breakfast, 12 carbs at lunch, 12 carbs for dinner, and my protein is way higher. Obviously, I have to adjust appropriately with my macros. I can't eat low carb, low fat, and low protein. So I'll dose for protein, and I don't use Novolog as much. I use Novolin. It's a slower insulin that works perfectly with protein and very low carb foods like celery or vegetables and nuts. Those are perfect. Another one is I believe we as people living with diabetes deserve normal health like people that don't have diabetes. I believe that 100% with all my heart. Now, if you're a vegan watching this, or you eat a normal, whatever standard American diet, and you bolus and you're trying to figure out why is your blood sugar erratic, just know that like even if you're getting all those carbs and those micronutrients, I understand like blueberries, bananas, like that's amazing for you. Tons of micronutrients. You're the micros. Let's get it, Mike Vacanti. There's no point of eating all those if our blood sugar is going to be anything higher than 100 milligrams per deciliter. And why I say I believe we deserve normal blood sugar, this is hard for me to say because a lot of people want to fight back against this. Dr. Bernstein teaches we can have normal blood sugars. That small window of 78 to like 89 milligrams per deciliter, we can achieve that with lower carb, with lower dosing, high protein, and like correcting with tablets. Like this man corrects with half tablets and quarter tablets of glucose. That's like 1 to 3 carbs. Before I used to correct with 15, spike, or I'll go even lower after, because I had taken so much insulin. It lasts longer. It starts working sooner when we take bigger boluses. I'm a firm believer of we deserve great health. I believe I deserve maybe even better health than the non-diabetic, which is, I understand, can be very hard, but just know that if you are starting a new program, even if you're doing super high carb, give yourself some patience, give yourself some time. Understand this is a long journey. Even someone who's a non-diabetic, they have their struggles. Their struggle might be, they might overeat too much, or maybe their macros aren't on point, or whatever the case may be. We all have our own thing to worry about. Don't worry about other people but yourself. So that's what I really wanted to come with. I love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Those are my main pointers of why I feel justified to eat low carb. Ali calling it out.